Hello, everybody. I'm sorry for the quality, but literally all of my soundproofing went down, so I can't do a regular video. I got 4 very important videos today. These are all interviews by CNBC and 1 interview by TD Ameritrade. This all either speaks directly about Palantir or artificial intelligence in general. I have 1 video about ARK Invest co-lead talking about artificial intelligence. Obviously, this is one of the reasons why they bought back into Palantir. If you guys don't know, they sold out of nearly 40 million shares of Palantir. A week ago, they actually bought 4.4 million. Yesterday, they bought another 1.2 million. And I have a huge feeling today they bought into Palantir. That's why Palantir went up. So they gave artificial intelligence thesis in this video, not specifically to Palantir, but you guys can fill in the blanks yourself. That's why they're buying into it. Then the head of Fitzgerald talks about what he's investing into, specifically naming Palantir. And then Joe Longo, one of the co-founders of Palantir, speaks about artificial intelligence, regulations for artificial intelligence. And yeah, this is a really, really, really good recap of 4 videos about the market today. The video is going to be around 11 minutes. I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And I'm going to leave a link to my Twitter down below. Please follow me on Twitter, specifically for my stock channel. Thank you. Have a great day.
Data intelligence firm Palantir hit its highest level in over a year, with shares up over 14% today, and also saw more than triple its average volume. That's on the heels of last week's strong earnings results and news that Cathie Wood's ARK Invest added 1.26 million shares to its holding.
Tesla remains ARK's top holding, making up more than 7% of all of ARK's ETFs by weight. And joining us now is ARK's co-lead of ARK Venture and AI analyst Will Summerlin. Will, it's good to see you again. Nice little shout out there, and I wonder whether or not his comments last night in aggregate made you more or less confident about your Tesla thesis.
Yeah, the way we approach investing in research broadly is through first principles. We really spend a lot of time trying to understand how a new technology is evolving and develop conviction based on that. And when we look at artificial intelligence, we spend a lot of time on cost declines, looking at how the cost to deliver a technology declines over time with scale. And in AI, it's actually declined at more than twice the rate of Moore's law when it comes to model training since 2012. So it's a 65% cost decline from 2012 to 2020. It's actually accelerated from 65% to 70% from 2020 to 2023. And so as we look at the technology and study the capabilities, we develop conviction. And hearing remarks from Elon directionally about where they're headed certainly increases that confidence.
Does it, I mean, we've talked with Cathie about this at length, not just regarding Tesla, but all things battery and robotics and AI. Do you think we are finally on the downward slide where this technology starts to feed deflation? And if so, what inning would you say we're in?
Yeah, well, if we look at just the capabilities of artificial intelligence in the context of Tesla, using full self-driving, a car is 5 times safer than a human operator already. And so we're already approaching a point where AI is outperforming humans. FSD is running about 1 million miles a day in autonomous mode. And so I think we're already seeing the technology fully capable of doing a task better than a human. We also see this in the context of knowledge work. So if we step back for a second, human knowledge workers are paid about $32 trillion a year to write code, review legal agreements, et cetera. And we're rapidly approaching a point where domain-specific models can outperform humans at a variety of tasks. We're seeing this in the context of software engineering as a leading indicator. So in software engineering, GitHub put out a study recently showing that software engineers using an AI assistant are more than twice as productive than software engineers without that AI assistant. We also invested through the private side in a company called Replit, and they very rapidly scaled to 22 million users who were using this capability to generate lots of useful code for websites, apps, et cetera. And they're seeing some developers with as much as 80% of their code generated by AI. And so I think we're rapidly approaching this point where AI is capable of automating most tasks that humans do in the context of knowledge work, and that will certainly be deflationary.
I wonder, traditionally, I think of ARK as high growth tech, cutting edge tech kind of companies, innovators, and that fits in with the AI theme. But if AI can truly disrupt all the industries and all the companies and get you productivity and efficiency and old school companies as well, whether you're taking a look there too, a bank, for instance.
Yeah, we're investing in companies that are really at the cutting edge of developing this technology. And when we think about the value accrual that will occur through AI, We think most of it will occur at the application layer, the companies who are developing these AI applications. And again, if we take knowledge work as one example, knowledge workers make $32 trillion a year, and we're already seeing knowledge workers double or triple their productivity using AI assistance. And so the companies that are developing the applications that enable that productivity uplift, we think will capture quite a lot of value. We think in our base case forecast, by 2030, the market for AI software will reach about $14 trillion annually. Just to put that in context, companies currently spend about $1 trillion in enterprise software. And so we think that's where the majority of value accrual will occur, and that's where we're investing.
Every company is going to adopt or use AI in the next 10 years, and profits are going to follow.
So funnily enough, for those kind of claims, I'm not sure many people would disagree with you. Where everyone disagrees is what it means for the stocks that are affected. When you see anyone who mentions AI, the stock gets a bounce. The AI ticker is up double this year. I don't know. We're reaching the point at which, the hype's going to overtake everything and maybe drive things to silly levels.
Well, respectfully, that's always a risk, right? And it's going to be like .com 22 years ago. Whenever you put .com after you got pets.com, you got talking socks, ridiculously stupid Super Bowl commercials. There's going to be a degree of hype that comes with anything that's invented new. It was the same when we transitioned from silent movies to talkies. That is going to be very real over the next 6 to 12 months. But if you look out beyond that, if you look at the longer historical record and the introduction of technology, we have two things now that we didn't have. We have speed and adoption and breadth. And we've got billions of people carrying devices just like this one, which means that it is going to be in your life immediately within seconds when it takes effect.
Quick final one before I want to bring Brian in here. But given all of that, you own what? You buy what? I mean, what doesn't have this priced in already? What's the basket for something that we're really just now building out?
I think you go with the big names that have got the cash flow stability and development capacity. To me, this is going to be companies like Apple. It's going to be companies like Tesla. It's going to be companies like Palantir. I own all three.
Apple, Tesla, Palantir. Interesting mix there, Brian. All right.
Elon Musk's tweets have long been a lightning rod for criticism and controversy, even more so now that he owns the platform. In an exclusive interview with CNBC's David Faber this week, Musk said it's all about free speech.
I'm reminded of there's a scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Join us right now to talk about Musk's commentary, free speech on social media, AI, and so much more. Joe Lonsdale, founding partner of 8VC and co-founder of Palantir. You know Elon very well. I'm curious just what was your takeaway from that exchange?
Well, Andrew, I'm glad he's being a role model in this sense to so many others. I think the biggest cowards in America are those who run the Fortune 500 companies and those who run big funds. There's this sense that there's one side that's correct you can't criticize. In any society, you want to understand how authoritarianism works. It's a side you're not allowed to go against. They want to have like an inevitable victory of their ideology, and everyone just shut up, go along. And in Elon's view and in my view, this is, hurting hundreds of thousands of vulnerable people in our cities. It's breaking lots of things, and it's a duty of people to speak up and say what they think.
Can you square one part of this, though, for us, which is, Elon says money, power, I'll do it, I don't care. And yet the truth is, when it comes to doing business in China, when it comes to doing business in Turkey, he's now limited what's publishable in Turkey, in part because the country has said, we don't want you doing that. Other companies, other tech companies, Google, Facebook, others have said, we're not going to actually play in these markets because we actually don't want to have to deal with those laws and those rules.
I think that's a very fair point. I think every company has a very tough decision to make. Do you turn off everything in that country, or do you leave things on in that country and go along with the rules? And I personally think
what does that say then about power and money? If you really are willing to, if power and money, it don't matter, and you will say whatever you want, no matter what you want, the principle, if this is really about just straight up principles, you'd say, you know what, I can't do business with those people. I can't do business in China. This is just not for me. I'm not doing it. And actually the stand I'm taking is a strictly principled one. And what the reason I'm suggesting that there's something else here beyond.
I think you're right that everyone running a big company on the international stage today who does any business at all in any of these countries is going to make some compromises. And I think it's good to be transparent at the very least about it. I actually do think, Andrew, that most of the other social media companies, as my understanding is, do follow the rules in Turkey as well. They just don't talk about it out loud. So, I personally, I'm very troubled by that. I don't think that guy running Turkey is a good person. I think he's very scary. But I understand. I think you're right. Companies do make compromises to do business in these places. It's very hard to be a perfectly pure person. I think being able to stand up as much as you can is a good thing, and people are going to make trade-offs where they decide to stand up. I think that's correct.
Let's pivot this conversation to AI, because there is this sort of interesting free speech issue around AI as well. And actually, Elon, I think to the extent that he's pursuing a sort of competitor to a ChatGPT or to a Google Bard or to a Anthropic or what have you, is really about creating an AI where you can say that the AI will speak in whatever language and say whatever it wants, whereas what you've seen over the last several months is ChatGPT, now in partnership with Microsoft, they've put some guardrails around what AI will come back with in terms of the responses and the answers and the reasoning. Similarly, Google and Bard have been even more uniquely cautious, perhaps. Are those good decisions, bad decisions? And what happens on the other side if the view is that there's no decisions?
Well, I don't know exactly what Elon's doing there. I'm good friends with a lot of people at OpenAI. I know Sam well, a lot of people running that place, used to work with me on Palantir and otherwise. And, I think OpenAI is doing extraordinary things. I think the trade-off, Andrew, there's first of all, yes, how much you censor yourself. I definitely don't think the government should be involved there. That's terrifying. I think it should be terrifying to all of us because this is going to run so many workflows in our society, and having that decided top down, I don't think that's right. I think we got to be very careful. I think there is regulation we should think about, which is that it's not clear we want autocrats to have access to this. And so it's Sam testified this week, as you saw in Congress.
Yep.
And I think this idea of a regulatory agency that touches anything other than the existential issue is a big mistake, because I think the existential issue, which we all have, is that maybe the GPT-12 in 10 years is powerful enough that it could do things to destroy stuff. And the question is, who gets to have a giant super clusters of GPUs? And I think that's the most interesting regulatory question. I think the rest of it, there should be multiple of them. It should be decided by industry, bottom up.
How much, though, of even the conversation about regulation on AI is just hot air? And when I say that, and I'm not being dismissive, I'm glad, frankly, folks like Sam are so early in trying to bring this conversation to the discourse. But Washington, as you know, as well as anybody, has been behind in terms of even thinking about regulation the entire time. And we're still debating whether there should be regulation around social media, around privacy, around so many different issues. And, if there was regulation, you would have thought that those things would have been dealt with already.
If this stuff works the way it looks like it's going to, Andrew, this could be a third industrial revolution, right? This could be like the late 19th century all over again, which I know a lot of people didn't say they don't like that era, but you have to keep in mind that during 30 years, the average wealth doubled in this country, more than doubled in this country. Everyone benefited from that massively. I think that could happen again here. It's going to be really interesting this time because the people whose jobs is finally replacing, it's no longer just like the shoemaker or the barrel maker. It's going to be making lawyers more efficient. It's going to be making bureaucrats more efficient. A lot of people who run everything in our government are going to be able to be, replaced with a ratio of 10 to 1, just getting more done. So they're going to want to regulate it. I think you're right. But right now, they have no idea how to do it. And, I don't think we do know how to do it until we see what happens.